evening to every one of us. Today, we are going to be looking at strategies for achieving success in our workplaces. My name again is Dr. Emmanuel Odigie. Like we all know, everything and every object is created to be successful. Even when the manufacturer make a product, the intention is that the product succeed, that is meets its original intention. So as workers and people who have businesses or entrepreneurs, one of the major goal in our hearts is to succeed at what we are doing. Nobody set out on any journey with the intention to fail. So we want to be looking at some strategies that can make this success possible. And something else I would like to say here is that success is actually not a destination. All right, we must have that in our mind. It's not a there's no place called a place of success. It's a thing to be worked at on a daily basis. But I just want to make that as a comment as we move on. As a way of introduction, I will say this, that success may elude you until your drive for achieving it surpasses your desire for sexual pleasure. All right, I know we are all adults here. You will agree with me that there is a feelings you have, when there is a desire for sexual pleasure. There is that craving that comes to your heart. There is that, there's a pressure on your system, on your entire system when you want it. But if you do not have that kind of drive that surpasses the kind of drive you have for sexual pleasure, you may not be successful. Not because the creator made it so, but just because you have not been able to set out, to achieving success. The presentation today is aimed to equip individuals with practical strategies that can lead to excellence in their professional lives, or workplaces or your businesses. By the end of this section, you'll be having the knowledge and tools to effectively apply these strategies for achieving workplace success. Some of the strategies we're going to be looking at today is first, goal setting. All right, we're going to understand what it means to be goal setters or to set our goals effectively. Another one is effective time management. It's Edison that says there is time enough for everything. All right, so sometimes we always want to say, I don't have enough time for this, I'm so busy. Thomas Edison said it is time enough for everything. So the next one I'm going to be looking at here is lifelong learning and upskilling. If there is anything in life that does not have the ability to grow, only one thing, that's debt. So every other thing has the ability to grow. Emotional intelligence is another area we want to know how to manage our emotions and what we should do at certain time. We want to also look at building strong relationships, because you cannot exist in isolation. You are not alone. All right, like the popular local proverb says, a tree does not make a forest. So again, as you begin to succeed, there is temptation for pride, and pride, they say, goes before the fall. So we're going to be looking at humility and loyalty, because we said success is not a destination, but it's a process, and it's an ongoing process. So now in goal setting, you must set out clear, specific goals. All right, you must set out what clear, specific goals. So when you get to your workplace, for instance, or your job or whatever you're doing, I wrote that you start your day on a positive note, believing that everything is possible. You must have that, at the front of your mind. Whatever tasks you're going to be faced with, whatever challenges you're going to be facing, you must be able to establish within yourself that, first of all, everything is possible. No matter how close the deadline is, don't deviate your mind from the plan. All right, you must stay with the plan. You must understand that, listen, I've set out a goal. This is what I want to achieve. For instance, you said, okay, I want to finish a certain report today, or I want to develop a certain plan today. Okay, we understand that you may not be able to finish it in one day, but you must be able to break it down into targets. All right, what you're going to be achieving at a certain time. Okay, and once that is being set out, you must give out a time frame for them to be achieved, and you must stay with the plan, because there's going to be a lot of things to divert your attention. The other one here says significance of setting well-defined, measurable, and achievable goals. Listen, it cannot be overemphasized. First of all, it helps you in managing pressure. Second, it helps you in coming out with plans that even you'll be happy with the fact that, oh, I set out to achieve these things, and within a space of time, oh, this is what I've been able to achieve. Why? Because you set out these goals, and you've been able to understand that, first of all, this goal must be measurable. Okay, you must understand that they are achievable. There must be things that it must not be something that it looks like maybe you're setting a goal to say, for instance, you want to write an HSC plan in 1 hour. I mean, it's not going to be achievable. So you must look at, even if you're going to copy and paste, you still need to edit the names properly, so that you don't go and put some other project name in your project, which is actually not advisable to copy and paste. But the point is that it must be achievable. It must be what also you must set out a measurable goals. The other one here says your individual goal must align with your organizational objective. All right, you don't set out a goals that is in complete deviance from your organizational objective or what your organization stands for. So you must do everything possible to ensure that whatever you are setting out as your goal or your personal objective must align with the overall objective of the organization where you are working. All right, otherwise you know what that means to your employment status. The other point here says importance of regular reviewing and adjusting your goal to stay on track and maintain motivations. There will be need to remove some things as you move on, because by the time you begin to look at what you set out to do, and you find out that, okay, these are things that I'm doing right now, or these are things I will need to do, you begin to find out that, oh, some doesn't align what I need, or some may even be achieved. So you want to review your goal at the end of the day or at the end of the week, and then begin to adjust them to specific track, based on what is currently obtainable or what is on ground in your workplace. The other point here says staying positive and appreciating every task. If you find out when we're looking at why you must set clear and specific goals, we started by saying start your day with positivity. Now we're also ending to say that staying positive and appreciating every task, because why? As you move on the day, or as you move on with the task, there are going to be reasons, there are going to be things that are going to create or affect your emotions or affect your mind. A lot of things will be thrown at you, so you must make deliberate efforts to say, you know what, I'm going to stay on track and I'm going to stay positive. So staying positive and appreciating every task is a key to success. Now, there are going to be tasks, for instance, maybe you are working, with a particular boss, who are giving you maybe a certain task that looks like, when am I going to even achieve this? You must be able to appreciate the fact that, first of all, the tasks that are put on you are not more than you. You may just want to find out how or best practice way for you to achieve those tasks. So don't allow those tasks to begin to bring pressure on yourself, because when that happens, it will affect your positivity. It will make you want to complain. It will make you want to begin to resent. It makes you want to be able to put up attitude that makes you to become unprofessional. So also manage your emotions. Of course, we're going to deal with emotional intelligence as we move on. You must manage your emotion at all time. Don't put your work pressure on your colleague. Most of us say we do this sometimes, because we are pressured, because something has come at us, we begin to transfer these aggressions, to our colleague, to our subordinate, to people around us. Listen, that is the most unprofessional way to act. So you must be able to manage your pressure. That's the essence of staying positive, no matter what happens. So you must be able to manage your pressure so that you do not begin to transfer, aggressions on others. The very most important one here again, which is the key to every success, because God got 24 hours. All right, how we use this 24 hours, can actually make or man us. All right, so time management, effective time management enhance productivities in achieving workplace success. I started by telling us that it was Thomas Edison that said there is time enough for everything. So there is actually, there is no one that should say, you know what, I don't have enough time. You have enough time for everything. But the only thing is that you may have not been able to understand how to manage it. I want to give some key principles here on how to manage that. This is not exhaustive, but we just going to look at it, because of, the time frame we have. Time management technique. First of all, you have to prioritize your task. All right. You must begin to look at your task from urgent and important. All right. Which tasks are urgent? Which tasks are important? There are some tasks that are very urgent, but they are more important. Okay. Or if you could see on the presentation there, I put those things on red because they are urgent. For instance, let's say, let's give an example of urgent and important. Now you probably are doing a particular plan, or you're working on something on the system, and there's an emergency call, to say probably somebody just fell from heart, God forbid. Now, at that point, every other task should be suspended because there is something that is urgent and is important, because what? A life is depending on it. So it's urgent and is important. There are several other examples of what are urgent and important, but maybe in the discussion session we want to look at it from individuals' perspective. Then another one is important but not urgent. Wow, something could actually be important, but it's not urgent. All right. Now, in the example we gave, when you begin to take your attention away from the task you're supposed to do, and now you need to attend to an emergency situation, that is urgent, that is important. The report you need to do was very, very important, but at that particular time, it wasn't urgent. So this is some of the techniques we must have in our mind while we are trying to manage our time. Again, you could have something that are very urgent, but they are not important. Then there is another one that is neither urgent nor important. A very good example is gossip. Gossip is not urgent. You can always gossip anytime if you are the type that like gossip. So why spend all the time they're supposed to use to do relevant thing on gossip? They are not important, they are not urgent. Some of the gossip you want to say, okay, they are going to be telling you about what's going on in the workplace. You could also know, by maybe the memos or whatever way, your organization make their communication. So things that you are going to get to know with time, they are actually not so much urgent to, take out so much time for. Creating a schedule is another way for you to manage your time. You want to check out what you'll be doing at a particular time, what you should be doing now, what you should not be doing. So you create that schedule. It's a very it's a master class on its own if we are going to look at creating schedule. But just put it as a point, and maybe questions will help us to elaborate on that. Then time blocking. You must allocate specific block of time for different tasks or activities. For example, you may want to block off 2 hours to focus on work and allow 30 minutes for break. All right. You may want to say, okay, I'm resuming 8 o'clock. From 8 to 10, I'm going to face a particular work. I'm going to just do this, and until I've gotten this done, I may go for tea break, or whatever you want to break it is. For those, maybe you are smoking, you want to go for your to have time to smoke and all that. So these are times that you don't use that particular time that you blocked out to work, to start doing your tea or to start doing your coffee and all of that. No, you block out that time, and then you will be amazed at how you'll be able to achieve success at a particular task or whatever you set out to do in your workplace. Then you must avoid distractive calls and mails. We live in a generation that everything eats up on our time. I mean, every single thing around us, they are set out to distract us. All right, you have a mobile, for instance. As we speak right now, there are going to be a lot of messages, either from WhatsApp, from TikTok, from Facebook. There are going to be notification coming all the way. So what do? You must tell yourself, you must discipline yourself, you must set out to say, this time I have set out to do this work. I am definitely not going to allow any other thing distract me. And of course, I'm going to go to the next one, which is social media management. See this, as young folks, we must understand that if there is one thing that is eating up our destiny today, it's not the government, it's not the office where we work, it's not the management, it is the social media. Why? Because it steals our time without our consent. All right. As we speak right now, some of us may even be saying, you know what, let me just quickly scroll to, let me scroll to Facebook. Let me just quickly scroll to, a particular, thing to do. All right. I'm seeing a pop up here. Which of these example prioritized tasks should you consider first? Urgent and important tasks, urgent but not important, neither urgent nor important. All right. So, time block, we've talked about that. Social media management. Listen, if anything is eating into your life so deeply right now as we speak, is social media, and nothing else but social media. And of course, because we are not really dealing on that specifically today, I will not want to elaborate on that, on how that affects every part of our life, not just our careers. I mean, every part of our life, our emotional lives, everything is draining us more than we can even imagine. Like I told us, it's stealing our time without even our consent. Now, the other one is using productivity tools like to-do list. All right, you want to write out the things you want to do. All right, you want to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do this time to this time with your time blocking. You write them as in order of importance. You may not be able to put them in order of importance in the very first instance, but once you pull them out already, then you want to start looking at them again and say, okay, I think this comes before this. Okay, replying that email comes before having to go for safety work or having to do a walkthrough. You want to begin to look at them from, after you write out all the to-do list for the day, now you're going to create them in order of what important and priority. Then the last one, which we don't even pay attention to not do lists. Note, I said we should have a to-do list. Then the other one is we must also have a list of to not do. All right, in your life, you should be able to write out things you don't want to do anymore. For instance, I don't want to check my WhatsApp when I am writing my mails. I specifically have to do so for myself. All right, I have a live book and I have to write out some things. I don't take calls from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's a block time. It's my time. I love the office. It's the time for personal development. I want to read. I want to listen to something that inspires my life. This is my time. I don't care what's coming in. Only my wife knows about this. If you need to reach me and it's urgent, send me a message 2 times and I will call you. And I will put off everything I'm doing. But every other person, because listen, everything is eating up on our time as we begin to move on. I'm going to find out that by the time you are 60 years old, you have given 10 years of your life to Facebook. You have given 5 years of your life to unimportant calls, distractive calls, coming at the point where you are doing something very important. So you must have to not do lists. All right. I found out also, with time, as I begin to get busy, I found I was having issues, with having to sleep very well. And I told myself, from this time to this time, except it's an emergency call, I don't receive calls anymore. You must come to a point where you begin to have your to not do list. And these things are very important for you to achieve success, whether in workplace or in your personal life. Now, the next one here says lifelong learning and upskilling. It's called CPD, Continuous Professional Development. Like I told us, if there is anything that does not require to grow in life, it's death and not you that is living. So continuous learning and skill development is something that you don't want to play with as a professional. Value of lifelong learning and upskilling in today's fast-paced work environment. You must value knowledge. Those who know rule over those who do not know. It says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So you must begin to find out what you don't know and what you need to know. Seek out opportunity for professional development, such as workshops like we're having right now, conferences and online courses. There is no knowledge, all right, that is actually wasted. Every knowledge is a hard-on to your personal development. So you must begin to appreciate knowledges, and no matter how little you think they contribute to your professional life, but you must see them as improvement on yourself. All right, improve your skills. There is no end to learning. Commit to learning new things and imparting them to co-workers. And one of the major challenges, or one of the stumbling blocks to learning is lack of sharing. All right, listen, it doesn't matter whether you believe in giving or not. You must understand the principle of life is that when you give out what you have, there is a vacuum, and nature does not support vacuum. So there's going to be an infilling again. So when you have knowledge, you find out that you want to hold on to that knowledge. What you have just done is that you've stopped the flow, and you have also stopped your own possibility of growth. A wise man was speaking to a true life story. Of course, I don't want to mention his name. He's a popular man in Abuja, Nigeria, and he was speaking to one of his matees. He said he's 75, and he was telling him, he said, all my life I have always closed my hands, and I didn't want to share a lot of things with people. He said, but as I begin to grow older, I found out that most of the things I was not sharing, people started knowing them without me. They started getting those knowledge, those information without me. And I found out they were even getting better at what they needed to do without my input. He said, and when I open my hand, now that I'm old, I found out there was nothing in my hand. I found out there was nothing. So no matter what you've known, listen to me. Every idea that drops in your mind has dropped in the mind of over 1 million people on earth. So don't just think it's limited to. Sometimes when you share, you're going to find that you expand it, and it doesn't contrast, it doesn't reduce you. I remember when I wanted to do my international diploma in occupational health and safety, and a BSc. We were the first set in Collar Center at that time, and there was just no past questions anywhere. So I went online, began to dig for the informations, bought a lot of questions and all of that, and I even have to start using the Nebosh, questions to answers, and I'm beginning to do that. But as time progresses, after I was set, I found out that people started coming at me because I did it in one sitting, and they started coming to get the knowledge, to get the information, and it became like very popular stuff. And somebody told me that there was somebody who actually came for a particular material, and I already given out to someone else, and I felt like, oh, should I have collected it or make a photocopy of it? But even when I didn't give to him, I think it was a few weeks later, I visited, we were just talking. He had more than enough, even more than what I thought I had then. But I didn't just deny it because I wanted to deny it, but I had given it to someone without copying it. And before I could even think of, oh, what should I have even done right now? He already had more than what he needed. So, don't hoard informations. Share them. Knowledge comes when we actually share. So, polish your skills. That's the next point here. Help you stay in a competition and boost self-confidence. Keep a tab on opportunities and strive to work better. Always learn, always do your best to be better than yourself yesterday. All right? That is, okay, this is who I am today. By the time someone is going to meet me tomorrow, he should meet me better than he left me yesterday. So every day, find a way to, you may just want to learn a new skill, a new word. All right? Improve on yourself, and keep a tab on all opportunities, as long as it's for knowledge. Right now we are doing this in Save O'Clock. There could be another platform teaching on how to manage your time, or how to successfully in workplace. Oh, don't say, oh, we've listened to it in Save O'Clock and that's it. No, the information you're going to get there may be very, very different from what we have now. Benefit of improving both technical and soft skills to stay competitive in the workplace. There are a lot of benefit that we may be able to look at right now, maybe because of we're going to answer questions. We begin to look at this benefit and discuss as a people. Now, maintain growth mindset. Upskilling is a must. All right. The only thing that does not grow in life is debt, and not anything about life. All right. So if you are alive, there is one thing you must understand, is the fact that you must keep growing. You must keep expanding your skill. You must keep, improving your knowledge on a day-to-day basis. All right. So don't say what I know right now. We are living in a world of the AI. If you are not improving yourself, it's going to get to a point that robots are going to take some of our jobs. All right. So there's a lot of, things going on in the IT world right now that we must keep, track of them and improve our skills. Embrace challenges. This is very, very important. Listen, when it comes to lifelong learning, you must understand there are going to be challenges. Challenges are meant to change you, but change you in a positive light. All right. When challenges come to you, whether from your boss, from your co-workers, from co-professionals, from friends, or anyone around you, you must see challenges. Don't see them as as people try to get. Don't take them personal. That's the word. Don't take challenges personal, but see it as a medium of improving on yourself. View failure as a learning opportunity and seek feedback for personal growth. All right. When it looks as if something has failed, don't see it like, oh, that's the end of it. No, you must understand that, I tell people, when you learn from your failure, the failure becomes the school fees you pay for that knowledge. All right. When you learn from your failure, but when you do not learn from your failure, it's a different ball game altogether. But when you learn from your failure, it becomes the school fees that you are paying for that knowledge. That begins to add to your experience, your wealth of experience. All right. The other one here says success stories of individuals who have overcome setback through adopting a growth mindset. One thing I just told you why I was trying to do the BSc occupational health and safety. One of the things I did was to start looking for those who have done it. I went on YouTube. I was looking at every video possible to see how people were able to pass it and what they did. You understand? So you must be able to, one of the things you want to do is that when you have filled a task that is very, very difficult, begin to look for those who had achieved success in that area. I think, currently, I think that's a more current stuff now in the world of Guinness Book of Record. Idabasi decided to say, what, I want to cook for 100 hours. And the previous person that did that was, I think, 87 hours. And she was from India. And that was 2009. So from 2009 to 2023, at the present time, nobody could break that record. But I'm sure she'd look back and say, what, it's long enough. I think it's time for us to put this record aside and set a new record. So if you want to achieve anything in your life and it's proving difficult, look for those who had achieved success in those areas. All right, I'm a faith person, or I'm a person of faith. I want to cite this example for those of us who are not Christians. Of course, I'm a faith person. I'm not going to hide that. All right, when the Bible was talking to Mary about the birth of Jesus, it told her, go to Elizabeth. All right, go and check with her, so that you understand that what I'm going to do with you is not an impossible thing. It has been done before. Of course, there are several examples of that also, even in the Holy Quran, of people who have done things, and Prophet Muhammad, in his also make examples of them in trying to challenge people to do things. So it means that whether you are somebody of religion or you are a secular person, you must understand that the best way to challenge yourself is to look for those who had achieved successes in those areas. All right. So lifelong learning, you learn from those people, and their lessons becomes easy way for you to move on. All right. Now the next one here, we're looking at emotional intelligence. This is very, very important. Listen, you want to achieve success in your workplace, and let's say you've done 99% excellent work, and because of one provocation, you walked out of the meeting banging the table, you ruined the 99%. So you must, this is a skill that you need in every aspect of your life, even in your relationships. All right, whether you are married or whatever form of relationship, you need emotional intelligence. Self-awareness is the first key here. You must understand yourself. You must get to know, who am I? All right, these are questions you need to ask yourself. Sometimes you may not get the honest truths from yourself when you're asking these questions. You may also want to check this view with other persons, close friends, colleagues, asking them, what do you think about me? Who do you think I am? And if you're the kind of person that's going to be hot with honest feedback, but look for friends who will be very polite in giving their feedbacks to you. All right, you don't look for people who are going to be very harsh and tell you that you're a bad man. You understand? So you want to look for friends who will tell you, Emmanuel, you are okay, but sometimes you need to just check the way you respond to things. Now you should be able to pick from there that sometimes is giving you an underlying, important feedback that you must work on. Check the way you respond to things. That's the point when it says sometimes. So self-awareness, this can be done through self-reflection. All right, you want to look back on the things you have done, decisions you have made. You want to look back on how you reacted, in the last meeting you attended, what you did. You want to review everything that has happened. All right, and begin to check, okay, what did I do wrong, or what did I do right? What should I have done, and what did I not also do right? Or seeking feedback from colleagues, which we just talked about, and mentors also. You want to check with your mentors. It's very, very important. If you ever want to be successful at whatever in life, because there are people who have done those things before, you must seek mentorship. In fact, I cannot overemphasize this. A lot of persons who would have been greater than they are today professionally and in their lives or achieve greater successes, they died in isolation because they refuse to be mentored. They refuse to submit themselves to mentorship. One of the things that happen to mentorship is that your mentor speaks truth to you because he's not afraid of you. He's even bigger than you. You're supposed to seek a mentor that is higher than you professionally. Somebody can look at you and say, what is this? You just did this poorly. You should do better. Don't do this again. Somebody can stroke you. All right. Like in the field, for instance, you're a footballer. Go and check great footballers. They have coaches. All right. Mentors are like coaches. They are people that they listen to. If in your life there is nobody you are listening to, you are actually not ready to be successful with whatever you are doing, whether in your workplaces or at whatever you are set out to do. Self-regulation. It must come to a point where, let me just read it where I put it here. Technique to manage emotions in the workplace, such as deep breathing exercise, mindfulness. Listen, you must come to a point where you self-regulate. All right, I'm a kind of person I react to things so easily. But what I've come to realize about myself over time is maybe it comes with age, or it comes with experiences, or it comes with exposure. I begin to find out that I delay response right now. That's one of the ways to self-regulate, because if you respond impromptu, you may be surprised. You will be surprised at your own response. So you don't want to be surprised at your responses. So you want to self-regulate. You want to calm down. You want to take some deep breath. Or when somebody just put something at you, or make an accusation in the office, or just say something so rash about you, you want to take a deep breath and just do a smile. Even if it doesn't go down well with you, but you want to self-regulate. You want to stop the talking first, and probably maybe talk later, or respond to that particular person later. Or taking a short break. It could also be somebody just come up to you with maybe a situation and says, oh, what do you have to say about this, Emmanuel? Let's just deal with this now. This is what happened. Okay, can we just give us some time? Can we talk about this in another 30 minutes? Sorry, I actually have something doing now. This is very important, but let's just talk about this in 30 minutes time. Within that time, you self-regulate. You talk to yourself. You tell yourself, this is what I want to say. He's not going to get a bad part of me. I'm not going to speak to him like this. Okay, Muna, listen. I understand what you've just said, but that was a bit harsh. But anyway, this is what I think. You cannot begin to bring your idea in constructively. But if you attack him the way he came, you find out that you mess up professionally. You will use foul words. You will fight in the office. You'll find out that you are, a lot of people refer to Africa like, oh, you're aggressive, because you are always attacking issues. You are not self-regulating. It's not about that you are aggressive. You just needed to self-regulate. All right. You are honest. What you want to do or what you are saying, you are very, very correct, but you needed to self-regulate. It's very, very important. Empathy is another thing when it comes to emotional intelligence. You must understand that, listen, what you don't want to be done to you, don't do it to others. All right. What you don't want to be thrown at you, don't throw it to others. See, the universe is watching. All right. That's the best way I will put it. The universe is watching. Whatever a man sow, he will reap. So don't think that, I will just do this and get away with it. No, you must understand that people also have their feelings, and you must respect people's feelings. Recognize and understand the feelings and perspective of others. It is not every time that you are going to be right. All right. Even when you are right, you may not be correct. You may not be correct. So you want to listen to others. You want to seek, other people's opinion. You want to see what they have to say, the perspective at which they are viewing things at. All right. If I have time to make a practical example right now, and I've done this in some speaking engagement, of course, it's not a physical engagement. Otherwise, I would have been able to make a demonstration. You'll find out that 6-7 persons are going to give different view to a particular thing, not because they were all wrong. It is a perspective at which they are seeing it. All right. It's a perspective. So you must respect people's opinion. If I put up a bottle of water, for instance, and I show it to you and ask you, oh, what's this? This half full or half empty? Some persons will say this is half full because, it's not full, it's half full. All right. Another person will say, no, it's not half full. It's half empty. But we've been taught in management classes that this is about positivity and negativity. But I will tell you, it's also about perception. All right. It's about what they see. All right, it may not have much to do with whether they are being positive or they are being negative. It's just the way they see it. So we must respect people's view if we want to, be emotionally intelligent and, also achieve success in our workplaces. perspective, and active listening is another very key thing. Showing genuine interest. All right, it's not just enough to active listen. Show genuine interest and concern. Provide support when needed. All right, be a supportive team player. All right, don't be the type that always wants to outshine others. All right, you want to be at the forefront. You want everyone to see you as you are the one, doing everything. No, sometimes you want to push other people forward and be behind. All right, I did something in one of our projects. It was a safety campaign. All right, we're having a lot of injuries, hand injuries and several injuries. There were some high injuries also. So I did a safety campaign, and it was the first of its kind. I've never seen it anywhere. I went through what's it called, LinkedIn. I went try to search for such. I didn't find it, but we're able to put it forth. So we did a human eyeglass. All right, to show eye protection safety. It was a very huge campaign. Project directors and every other person came, took photographs. So it was a very massive project. And immediately after that campaign, our country manager, HSC country manager, projected this on his LinkedIn as one of the things he did. And he even came to the work and he told it to me that, Emmanuel, I've put your work on LinkedIn, and I told that I did it in my project. I said, sir, I actually did it through you. You understand? So it doesn't have to be me shining. Within him, he knows that I'm the one that did it. It was my concept. It was my idea. But allow him to take the credit for it, but he must also feel good. So sometimes you don't want to always be at a point where you take the credit. You also want to allow others, and it may be your subordinate, people who are even your colleague or even your bosses. All right. Social skill development. You must understand, we are in a social world. Humans are social animals. You must develop your skill. This is a master class on its own, but I just put it as a point, and it's something you want to read about, or you want to give examples. We can actually talk about that. You must be able to understand, we're talking about relationship with people. You must develop. You are not living in isolation. You're not going to. If everybody leave that project for you, you can't do it alone. All right, you can't do it alone. So stop looking at every other person as your enemy, and you are the only saint around. No, you must value the importance and the contribution of everybody, and that can only happen when you have a good social skill. Develop emotional resilience. All right, learn to bounce back from setback and disappointment. Listen, you're going to face that on a daily basis. All right, in your workplaces, you're going to find a day that it doesn't look like. In fact, we've wrote down to-do list. You find out you didn't do anything in your to-do list. The only thing you did was all the not to-do list. That was what you did. All right. So it's going to look like a disappointment to you, but you must learn to bounce back. You must talk to yourself. You must sit back and you say, well, all right, today didn't go the way I planned it, but you know what? Tomorrow is going to be a great day. It's going to be you must profess it. You must speak it out, and let the universe hear you. All right. Bounce back from setback and disappointment. Setback, they say, is a setup for a comeback. All right. So promote a growth mindset. Recognize and celebrate small achievement. Learn from failure and challenging situations. All right. When you set your goals, I always do that. For my staffs, then we always have. Anytime we have a milestone, we get an award. There's a launch. We have celebration. So do those things. It has a way of helping you. To understand that what. You're even motivating yourselves, and you're motivating your team. And this you can do for every area of your life, whether as a professional, as an entrepreneur, whatever you're doing, you want to always motivate everyone around you. Yes, this is very, very important. You don't live in isolation. A tree doesn't make a forest. It's a local proverb. Build strong relationship, all right? Importance of networking and fostering positive relationship with colleagues and managers and industry peers. All right, it may be sometimes not too easy with your managers, with your bosses, but with the next key we're going to be looking at, which is humility, you'll find that it's going to be very easy also. All right, to be able to build a very good relationship with your bosses. I personally worked, I remember in Greenline, then I worked with one of the most difficult boss anyone could actually have. All right, as a matter of fact, everybody in Greenline Metro that time, there's nobody that doesn't know Melanie. She was tough. All right, she was tough. This is a woman that would ask me to go and stop a tunnel boring machine. That if it is stopped for 1 hour, the company is going to be losing, millions of reals. All right, because this is a time-bound project. But because of common housekeeping, she would get me to go and stand in the middle of a track to say, you guys are not moving beyond here. It was a difficult task. But guess what? Some of these times I've done it. I've got to put, lower down a concrete barrier to a 35-meter deep excavation to stop a tunnel boring machine. Humility, submissiveness. But at the end of the day, of course, I became a manager after she left. And the goal thing was I didn't have to become extremely harsh on some little things, but I learned a lot of things. Even some of those things actually, people misconcepted the fact that, oh, are you a tool? Can't you just say no? There are some no you say to your bosses. You can't build good relationship with them because they will see you as insubordinating. Because in the 48 laws of power, the very number one rule says, do not outsmart your boss. So when you bad talk him when he's not there, you bad talk her when she's not there, you are trying to you're trying to look better than she is. You're trying to outsmart your boss. You will never have power. All right. So because she handed over to me, but if I had been insubordinating, she won't. She would definitely find a way to kick me out. But there were a lot of opportunities and a lot of reasons why I should have been sacked. But she protected me all the way. That was one thing I can never take away from her. No matter what I have done, even when I deal with her consent and I was very, very wrong, she would put up an email, put up a fight everybody, even threatening to resign if anything happens to me. Because why? I just submit to her. So it is not, or it doesn't make less of you to submit to leadership or to your bosses in work. I need to stress that, very, very importantly. Actively engage in teamwork, collaboration, and knowledge sharing. Effective communication, empathy, and active listening is key in building strong relationships. We've touched on some of these things as well. Then effective communication, like I said, that's a master class on its own. Effective communication. You must understand what is effective. It's not just speaking. When you speak and 10 other people are speaking, there's no communication. You're making a noise. You are eating up the atmosphere. All right. Somebody is speaking, another guy is speaking. You just want to keep quiet and listen. So you must develop those keys and understand that effective communication is very, very important if you want to achieve success in your workplace. Communication is a key. Keeping colleagues informed from time to time help build a strong working relationship. They say the best managed companies have the great communication flow. All right. You don't allow gaps in your communication, whether between you and your bosses or at your peer level or between you and your subordinates. The communication should be flowing. Don't hoard information. All right. Allow people to communicate their feelings. It's very, very important. Sometimes as bosses, we have a way of shunning people down. Get out of here. Okay, I don't want to listen right now. Okay, get out. Sometimes you just want to talk to yourself, self-regulate, and say, you know what? All right, what do you have to say? Can I hear you? Hear them out. And sometimes it doesn't really make sense what they are saying. Okay, I'll look at it. I'll take a look at it. And that's it. You don't have to tell them it doesn't make sense. I'll take a look at it. It makes them feel important. But within you as a man taking the decision, it doesn't make sense. You're not going to do it. I'll take a look at it. That's it. I tell my kids sometimes when they come with some, some stuff and say, oh, Daddy, I want it. I say, okay, no problem. I'll see about that. Yes, I use that for them often. So they will say, should I take that for a yes or no? I just said, I'll see about that. That's not yes or no. I'll see about that mean I'll see about that. All right. So that's what happened. So you want to communicate to people. Don't make them look stupid. You want to just let them know you are important. But what you're saying right now, it doesn't make sense. But you know what? Let's give it a time. I'll see about that. And you may never have anything to do with it. All right. So effective communication very important. Work on feedback. All right. Working on their feedback. Companies can remove obstacles and help increase their productivities. When people give you feedback as an individual, as a professional, about your attitude, about the things you do, you want to work on those feedback to make sure you are better. All right. This is one thing you don't want to take away as a professional. People are falling from high heights of their professional careers because of what? Disloyalty, because of pride. All right. So you want to deal with this. Listen, as an entrepreneur, I can sit and tell you that I prefer to employ a loyal, humble staff that is not skilled, and I will train him. He will stay with me for years and we enjoy him. This is the decision of 99% of entrepreneurs around the globe. If they're going to employ you when you are rude and disloyal, it's just because probably what you've got, no other person get it. But be rest assured, the moment they can find a replacement for you, you are the next to go. You are the next to go. They're not going to keep you. Nobody wants a disloyal staff. Nobody wants a staff that is so proud and arrogant. All right. Of course, a good first impression works wonders. It's not something we are not aware of. All right. You meet people, well, because you are HSC manager or you are HSC personnel or you are the project director or whatever you are, it doesn't mean that you're going to just, talk to them despitefully. You want to show them some level of respect because you may never know that you may even be speaking to the director of your company. So you want to give them a very good first impression, no matter who you think they are. You can probably be a fresher or a senior employee, but you are still creating an impression. At every given point, you are creating an impression. From your body language to your conduct at work, everything gets noticed. People are watching. People are watching. All right. That sometimes when I do appraisals, remember then a lot of things I write in the appraisal form for my workers' names, and they're like, boss, I no, we're watching. We don't have to tell you, but this is what happened. People are watching. Easy way to approach you. Therefore, growing great bonds together. All right. Being humble is to be fact. It's not something you talk about. Oh, I'm a very, very humble person. You don't tell people that you are humble. But the fact that you even say you are humble, you are very proud. All right. So people need to feel your humility. All right. You are not going to tell them that you are humble. Let others talk about. Oh man, this coordinator for 7 o'clock is a very humble man, very, very humane man. Let people say it from what they see. Professional is not a label you give yourself. It's a description you hope others will apply to you. All right. So that's a quote from David Mester. It's not a description. I'm a professional. Listen, you are not really a professional by measuring that. Let people say, oh, let Emmanuel do it because he's a professional at this. Let people push the job to you because they've described you to be a professional at it. All right. So that's what you want to do. In conclusion, achieving success in the workplace is a combination of dedication, focus, and strategic thinking. All right. Strategic thinking is a big cause on its own. All right. But one thing I must let you know is that your mind is thinking even without you thinking, even without you knowing. All right. So it works round the clock. So you want to be a strategic thinker, meaning you decide what you think about, not what just comes to you. You decide what you think about. You require a proactive approach and a willingness to continually learn and improve. One of the effective strategies is setting clear and attainable goals to provide direction and motivation. Additionally, cultivating strong relationships and effective communications can aid in collaboration and teamwork. Developing a positive mindset, embracing challenges, and taking calculated risk. All right. Something happened a few years back. I actually read about this in one of the journals. A lady in South Africa went to a zoo, and this zoo was a free ride zoo where you don't get a tour guide. So she was driving through the zoo and she saw some cubs, baby lions, 3 of them. She was trying to take a shot from a distance and she couldn't actually take the shot. It wasn't clear enough. So she stepped out of her car and went to carry these 3 cubs and put them, together, and she took a very nice shot. But you can guess what happened next. The mother lion came from the bush and devoured her. That's she taking uncalculated risk. If she had thought about what could happen, what is important about a cub's picture not being clear, all right, when your life is at stake. But she didn't thought about the fact that the mother lion was anyway close by. So you want to actually take calculated risk. Taking ownership of tasks and being accountable for actions can also demonstrate reliability and commitment. Lastly, adapting to change and being open to new views can foster innovations and creativity by employing those strategies. One can strive for success in the workplace and emerge as a valuable asset to your organization. Thank you so much. I hope with these few points of mine, I've been able to confuse you and not confuse you, that you could actually set up these strategies and you become successful at whatever you set out to do. Thank you. And I will welcome your questions.